Although any and all people in the slums who have never received living allowances are technically a 6th Street property. However, the street is still a humane place, so those who are allowed to be sold are worthless individuals who are unable to work or criminals guilty of offenses. And not to worry, whoever is sold will have an electronic collar attached so they won't dare harm him. There was no other choice. This should be fine if he had to be careful. While choosing, suddenly a little boy ran up to Jiang Chen and hugged him. Mr. Wang apologizes and says he's just a loose refugee. He said what happened? The little boy immediately said that he apologized for eavesdropping, but the little boy understood computers. He begged Jiang Chen to buy it. Then the guard grabbed the little boy's shirt and took him away. Mr. Wang asked if Jiang Chen was okay, and she said she was. Mr. Wang apologized. He never ran out of fools who couldn't wait to enter hell. Jiang Chen asked what would happen to the little boy. They'll be sent to a labor camp. He asked how such a young child could work. He wasn't young. Usually only those over 16 would wear a bracelet to keep him out. The boy just didn't grow up enough. Mr. Wang asked which one Jiang Chen would choose, and he said he would choose the girl. With her small body, high-intensity labor would kill her in a few days. Besides, he was pretty sure this wasn't the plan the Ashes had prepared. Mr. Wang said if Jiang Chen wanted that type, there were many better options. He had a way to get more. Jiang Chen felt that Mr. Wang was talking too much, and he apologized and said he would stop working. He would let it go this time and said how long would it take for the process to be completed. Mr. Wang said about a day, and he asked for the address. Jiang Chen said 2 crystals, and he will wait here. Mr. Wang said if there is a named judicial procedure, 3 crystals, and it was just a tip. Mr. Wang left immediately, and will finish it soon and give him time. Jiang Chen said if he doesn't have much time. He had had the upper hand like a ruler. He's almost too heated to handle it. Mr. Wang went back together with the little girl. All the procedures are done, sign, and she can go. And it was just for her safety, so please understand, and there was a physical examination, and it took some time. He said not to worry as the examination confirmed that the little girl was still uncovered. Annoyed, Jiang Chen ordered Mr. Wang to shut his filthy mouth. He signed the paper, and now number 010,342 is hers. Mr. Wang will leave if there's nothing else he needs. It was an honor to serve him. Mr. Wang is looking forward to serving her again in the future. Jiang Chen asked the little boy what his name was. The little girl said her name was Yo-Yo Jiayu. Jiang Chen asked her if she understood about computers. Then she said yes. In the computer area, she got grade B from the virtual education system. No matter it was programming or hacking, she could do quite well. Jiang Chen tried to joke with her and said, why is she still so poor? She said there were many people in the slums who could do it too. Although his skills weren't the best, but with his potential, Jiang Chen wouldn't suffer any losses. Jiang Chen understood Yo-Yo's words and gave her a jacket and told her to wear it. He told her not to catch a cold. It's not easy to get treatment here. Then he took her away because they had other things to do. Yo-Yo was very happy, and she will be introduced by Jiang Chen to her brother when she gets home. Jiang Chen didn't understand that a decision made out of empathy would not only have a huge impact on her future, but would also completely change the destiny of this little girl. They got home and Sun Jiao said she wanted to see if Jiang Chen had a fetish for this. She says that Sun Jiao is overreacting. This girl is the computer expert he found. Sun Jiao asks if she's safe. She shouldn't have anything to do with the Ashes Mercenary Corp. Sun Jiao didn't expect to hear the word should. This was also thinking about her safety. Sun called Yo Yao a boy and asked her if she knew Zhou Goping. She said she didn't know him. Sun Jiao is quite happy to hear Yao Yao's answer, so he will check it out. He hoped Yao Yao wouldn't mind. Then he immediately tore off the clothes Yao Yao was wearing. Jiang Chen looked shocked at what Sun Jiao had done, and Yao Yao was embarrassed. She only checked her body to prove she was safe, and Jiang Chen just nodded at her. Why is Jiang Chen's face red like a virgin boy? Is it because he hasn't taught her well? Jiang Chen challenges Sun Jiao if he wants to try it. He stayed on the balcony after getting beat up by Sun Jiao. And Sun Jiao said that there was no transmission device or weapon on Yao Yao's body. He wanted to see if Yao Yao was really a woman, and said why is Yao Yao so destitute. According to Jiang Chen, they are not poor at all. Good days were still ahead of them. Then Sun Jiao told Yao Yao to wear the clothes he had gotten for her. Jiang Chen is shocked and bleeds from his nose when he sees Yo Yo changing. Some Jiao teases Jiang Chen, why is he still so shy? Yo Yao is now his female slave and can be considered his personal property. Even if he does something to her, Yo Yao won't refuse him. Jiang Chen asks if Sun Jiao won't be jealous. She says if she's not jealous, she'll just squeeze him dry. Jiang Chen says the jokes stop here, and said that now Yo Yo was one of them, and introduces the woman next to him as Sun Jiao. Yo Yo called him master, but he didn't want to be called master. Just call him Jiang Chen. He feels the electronic necklace is not safe. Since Yao has his trust, let him take it off. Yo Yao also refused Jiang Chen's request. Yo Yao retreated because she didn't want the necklace off. Jiang Chen asks what she wants to do now. She doesn't hate the good Jiang Chen, she's been so blessed. She hopes Jiang Chen won't throw it away. Though Jiang Chen didn't say anything about throwing it away. Not taking the deterrent is not the same as trust. Some Joe didn't think this little boy could be so smart. Pointing guns at friends and relatives for one's own interests. Betraying spouse and children to survive. Anything could happen in this place. If she took off her electric necklace, this girl would definitely feel that Jiang Chen was getting wary of her. Jiang Chen confirmed it. It's natural for the human heart to be unpredictable when living in a world like this. It seemed like she was still using her way of thinking to judge this cruel future. Yo Yo understood that if she used this necklace, it could make her feel safer. This would be enough. As long as she was soft-hearted and obedient, she would definitely not be banished. Yo Yo had no other ambitions. She only hoped to stay alive. Of course, it would be even better if she could be more blessed. Jiang Chen asked Yo Yao to trust him. They would be blessed in the future. He asks Sun Jiao to take her to the shower since it's late at night. It seems like they are also looking at it with the way of thinking in the post-apocalypse world. It was quite possible that in their eyes, her having that kindness thought childish to them. Perhaps courage is the most unusual value in this world. But if she could escape from a dangerous environment at any time to another peaceful world, would he still be afraid of the cruelty of this world? Sun Jiao and Yao Yao took a bath together. Yo Yo didn't need to be too nervous. She treats her own person well. Can she call her Yo Yao henceforth? Speaking of which, Yao Yo's skin is very smooth after cleaning. That's because of the 3-model sleeping capsule. It has the function of improving one's body condition. Sun Jiao thinks the sleeping capsule is an amazing toy. He also said Yo Yao should be older than him. Yo Yo explained that this was not the case. She entered the sleeping capsule when she was 12 years old. She probably spent 20 years in it. But due to the effects of the suppressant injection, her real body age only increased by 2 years. Along with his days on the 6th Street for 2 years. The doctor said that his body was still 16 years old. The mental age should only be 14. Sun Jiao didn't really understand about that. If it's 10 plus 20, isn't it the same as 32? With an annoyed face, Yo Yao said that she wasn't that old. Sun Jiao just laughed at that. Then he picked Yo Yo up and pulled her into the bathtub. Yo Yao was still shy, but Sun Jiao said let her feel it. She was amused by Sun Jiao's behavior. He also said that Sun Jiao's melon was really big. He felt Yao Yao was jealous of him and said it was natural. Jiang Chen was happy. He didn't expect them to get along with each other so quickly. After finishing his bath, Sun Jiao asked Yo Yao to come out. She immediately grabbed a can of soda and drank it. Jiang Chen asked her to put on her clothes first before drinking. Sun Jiao was very happy to drink the 1 can of soda and told Yo Yao to quickly come out of the bathroom and eat with them. Yo Yao said she would be there after getting dressed. Yo Yao was speechless when she saw all the food on the table. Jiang Chen asked her to quickly sit down and eat together. She felt like she was dreaming and fell silent again. When she realized, she immediately bit her hand. It was not a dream. Jiang Chen said that if Yo Yo didn't come here soon, Sun Jiao would eat all the food. Sun Jiao didn't say anything because he was busy eating. Yo Yo asks if there is a portion for her too. Of course, they should be together while eating. And she asked Sun Jiao to eat slowly as no one would take her food. Yo Yo just fell silent and cried, not believing any of this. What does happiness mean? Everyone must have a different definition for it. But at this moment and in this place for Yo Yao, this was probably the meaning of happiness. They were in a very quiet town. Suddenly, there was a huge explosion in the building. Jiang Chen tried to run from there while carrying Yao Yao. Sun Jiao asked them to follow him. There were several people shooting at them. Someone ordered to destroy them immediately. He said the fat sheep were running away and ordered to chase them and Team 2 to follow. Someone from Team 2 heard the order and immediately chased after them. How did they find out? It was impossible since they had been camping since last night. Someone ordered all his troops to chase them. If they mess this up, the boss will be furious. Jan Chen asked if they hadn't arrived yet. Some Jia said they would be there soon. They kept running to avoid the criminals' pursuit. He also said this was his building block and told Jiang Chen and Yao Liao to go in immediately. Amazingly, Sun Jiao still looked dashing despite wearing heels. All of this was a little depressing. Everything was still going according to plan at the moment. Earlier at 8 a.m. they were shopping at a market. Jiang Chen was looking at the items he was buying. 1000 T hardware capacity, very high processor performance, little energy consumption. The salesman said that Jiang Chen had good eyes. Hologram computer EP and some spare parts. Help him calculate it. Can you pay for it using crystal units? Jiang Chen told Yo Yao to hold the bag. The seller finished counting it and totaled 20 crystal energy units. After finishing paying, they left immediately. Yo Yao was very happy that Jiang Chen bought a lot of equipment for her. She was really happy. While walking out of the district, Jiang Chen felt that someone was following him. Had he been targeted? It seemed like this strengthening drug didn't just increase his appetite. Sun Jiao told him to just ignore them, just follow his plan. Straight ahead was the intersection. It was easy to be ambushed here. Everyone proceeded with caution. Sun Jiao would observe it first. He suspected something and asked to stop first. He found it strange that it was so quiet around here. It turned out that the enemies were hiding to lure them. Some Jiao said that they couldn't reach their destination safely. The villains were waiting for them to move. He prepared a grenade and asked Jiang Chen to hold Yao Yao tightly. With a signal, they would break through at the same time. Then Sun Jiao threw the grenade, and after the grenade exploded, they ran away together. Finally, they arrived at a building and Jiang Chen was taking a short break. Yao Yao also looked worried about him. It seems that even with gene modification, carrying people alone is still heavy. Preparing to face the enemy, Sun Jiao asked if Jiang Chen could still fight. Jiang Chen said if he could still fight. He was worried whether they wouldn't be buried right away. Isn't he the one who designed this plan? Rest assured that if they're after money, they'll be more careful than us. Some Jiao said that they have come. The villain is named Renja. Today the boss sent him to watch the two fat sheep. Who knew that these bastards would let the other group notice them? They'll run right away, and we'll catch them, no matter what. Besides, they should have both been injected with gene medicine. This gene medicine is something even the boss can't afford. This kid didn't just buy it for himself. He even injected it into his woman. What was the point of buying it for the woman? So that she would be more satisfying when playing. The villains would know the answer in a moment. The two fat sheep seemed unable to run any further. Surprisingly, they were hiding in the abandoned building ahead. Renja immediately ordered teams 2 and 3 to quickly follow them. But his troops were suddenly immediately hit by gunfire and died. It turned out that Jiang Chen and Sun Jiao were shooting at them from inside the building. Renja ordered his troops to spread out and prepare for battle. Jiang Chen brutally shot at the evil peoples. He said, "You're all dead." The criminals were cornered. Renja did not expect Jiang Chen to be so rich. Then Jiang Chen was pulled by Sun Jiao and said if Jiang Chen was stupid, he should have aimed first before shooting. How can someone like him shoot carelessly? With a slightly annoyed tone, Sun Jiao said, "What's the problem? What does he have, explosives?" Jiang Chen apologized for playing too many games and really couldn't help himself when he held a gun for the first time. Sun Jiao also said, "Stop nonsense, quickly counterattack." Yo Yao, who was scared, hid behind the wall. Sun Jiao will show Jiang Chen how strong he really is. Renja said that their fire was too strong. It was impossible for him and his troops to advance forward. He was very upset that reinforcements hadn't arrived yet. There was a car coming, and it was reinforcements. The person on top of the car was shooting at them with a big gun. He kept shooting until they were cornered. Sun Jiao thought the current situation was not good, followed the plan and asked Jiang Chen to retreat first. Jiang Chen asked Sun Jiao to be careful. Sun Jiao kept getting shot at by the criminals. Then he ran and dodged the criminal shots. Renja told his troops to stop. Jiang Chen had escaped and they couldn't hurt the woman left behind. She asked her troops to go down and look for them. One man told Sun Jiao to stop hiding so they wouldn't shoot her again. "Come have a good time with her." The other gun could shoot accurately. Then he was shot in the neck and died. The criminals were attacked again by Sun Jiao. He said that he was a fool. Sun Zhao took out a grenade and threw it at them. A huge explosion occurred from the grenade. The criminals took cover to avoid the effects of the explosion. Sun Zhao immediately ran and escaped from them. They arrived at a tunnel and Jiang Chen asked Yo-Yo to jump, and he picked her up. Despite her fear, Yo-Yo jumps and is immediately caught by Jiang Chen. Yo-Yo is worried about Sun Zhao. She asks if Sun Zhao will be okay. Jiang Chen tried to calm her down and said there would be no problem. They could wait for her here. After all, she was the woman who could lock him up during the incident. Yo-Yo looked around and found they were in the drainage system. Jiang Chen confirmed that they were in the underground sewage system. He realized this place when he saw the map with Sun Zhao earlier. There was an entrance to the sewage system in the center of this large building. Although it was closed, Sun Zhao had removed the obstacle when he came here before. Then Sun Zhao shouted and asked Jiang Chen to catch her. She finally jumped and was caught by Jiang Chen and said that she wasn't afraid of hitting her head because of her jumping position. She tries to tease Jiang Chen and says she doesn't have Jiang here to help her. Renjia is visibly upset. She asks where they are and why they disappeared. His troops also said that the woman was too agile and a good shot. While angry, Renjia ordered his troops to look for them and must be caught as soon as possible. Can Jiang Chen stop rocking? Sun Zhao couldn't reach her. Jiang Chen also asked how much he weighed. Sun Zhao warned him never to ask a woman's age and weight. Otherwise, he would definitely get the consequences. Then Sun Zhao asked to get off. It turned out that Sun Zhao had already set the bomb up, and he gave the remote control to Jiang Chen. He asked Jiang Chen to pick it up, and wants Jiang Chen to punish them with this bomb. Punish them? Forget it. In this world, survival is the king's way. There's no reason to feel sorry for their lives. They're after our lives too. Despite searching everywhere, the criminals couldn't find them. One of them thought they had escaped. Then one said he found something and told his boss. The criminals gathered on the road leading to the tunnel, and one of them said that the woman seemed to be hiding below. After killing many brother criminals, when they caught her, she would serve the brother criminals well. Renjia asked what was the matter. One of them said that this could not be opened. It seemed to be locked tightly from the inside. Then there are troops who report too if they get something. Renjia said they should all hide under here. He told his troops to bring chainsaws here and not let them escape. One of them ran away because his mother called him to come back home for dinner, and he was going to go first. Renjia was confused as to why one of her troops ran away. She could tell she wouldn't be able to accomplish anything big. Renjia reintroduces herself and asks to be remembered by his name, even though she might die soon. After that, Jiang Chen pressed the bomb button. And there was a huge explosion. The entire building was destroyed and collapsed. All the villain troops, led by Renjia, died and were defeated by them. The three of them finally made their way to the tunnel. Their everything is pitch black. Who knows what will appear here? Yo-Yo looked scared, but Sun Zhao said how could she? He's not even afraid of groups of people. Why should he be afraid of something? Jiang Chen asked what Sun Zhao was thinking. If the head of the Ashes mercenary corps heard the news that all of his ambush group had been buried, he thought their boss would vomit blood in anger. Sun Zhao replied that it was certain. His guess was that if they appeared on the 6th Street, he would bring his men to kill them. But it didn't matter. There were many things that couldn't be taken elsewhere. After all, finding the opportunity to finish off the Ashes mercenary corps is not impossible. Yao heard a sound, and she looked back. She was very scared and screamed because there was a creepy mouse behind her. Seeing Yao scared, Jiang Chen tries to calm Yo down. Jiang Chen said if she didn't need to be afraid, follow behind her. With great confidence, Jiang Chen will protect her. Sun Zhao asked how many bandits he had killed earlier. There should be at least 1 or 2, right? Stopping making should be more like injuring 1 or 2. It's all the same though. It's fine as long as the other group loses its fighting ability, right? Yao laughed at Jiang Chen's words. It was only a matter of time before she became a worthy warrior. Sun Zhao didn't seem to believe what she said. Jiang Chen thought the sewer was very dirty. Then Sun Zhao asked to save time and walk faster. If this was in place, it must have been poorly built. With such an explosion, this place would definitely collapse. Of course, the government department still spent a lot of effort in building these top-quality public facilities before the war. There was a zombie figure holding a mouse and eating it. Jiang Chen asked how much longer they had to walk. There should be an exit around here to go upstairs. Why was his heart suddenly beating so fast? He had a bad feeling. It's best to get out of here as soon as possible. Some Zhou pointed out the direction they should go. Jiang Chen asked Zhang Chen to follow behind him. Jiang Chen stopped and found that there were many bullets heading his way. Some Zhou asked Zhang Chen and Yo Yo to dodge immediately. Fortunately, the shot missed and hit the wall. It turned out that there was one shot that hit Sun Zhou and injured his hand. Jiang Chen cautions that they are citizens living in a dark underground sewer. Jiang Chen says that Sun Zhou's hand is bleeding. He was injured saving her. Those citizens specialize in living in the dark and seem to see them as food. Jiang Chen should go ahead and leave this place. Sun Zhou would stay and take care of them and told Jiang Chen to leave quickly. Those citizens who looked like zombies walked towards Sun Zhou. Jiang Chen turned into a different person. He didn't accept Sun Zhou being hurt and said he wouldn't leave her. It was true that Jiang Chen turned out to be very ferocious. He continued to attack the zombies. He felt sad that he couldn't protect his own woman, and continued to attack the zombies, using weapons to fight it. Jiang Chen kept getting angry for not being able to protect Sun Zhou. He relentlessly attacked and killed the zombies. He was furious that the zombies hurt his woman. He was going to kill them all. Sun Zhou looked frantically at Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen would be in danger if this continued. Jiang Chen continued to beat the zombies, but the zombies kept coming like there was no end. Finally, all the zombies were defeated. Yo Yo was tying Sun Zhou's hand that was shot so that his blood doesn't keep coming out. But Sun Zhou asked Yo Yo to look for Jiang Chen because his condition is very dangerous now. Jiang Chen is seen walking but looks exhausted. There was a zombie that wasn't dead yet. The zombie pulled out a knife. After Jiang Chen passed by, the zombie immediately pulled his leg and tried to stab him with the knife. Jiang Chen tried to block the knife and cut his hand. But the zombie's power was stronger, so the knife stabbed his body. But the zombie was immediately shot, which made him injured until there was a large hole in his body. It turns out that Yao Yao shot the zombie to save Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen seems to want to faint. He can only see Yo Yo coming but can't see clearly. He also couldn't hear clearly what Yo Yo was saying. The next day, Jiang Chen woke up and was already in the hospital. He tried to remember what had happened yesterday. Why couldn't he remember? Then the door to the room opened, and Yo Yo entered carrying a bucket of water and a rag. Yo Yo said that Jiang Chen was awake, and she wanted to help clean his face. Sun Zhou asked him if he was feeling better. Jiang Chen was silent and didn't answer Sun Zhou's question, then invited them to eat together. While eating, he tried to remember if they were chased by a mercenary corp yesterday. After that, they entered the underground water drain. After that, Jiang Chen saw a very scary scene. He walked with the help of Yao Yao through the creepy place, because he couldn't stand the smell he vomited. He remembered that there were corpses everywhere. He was upset because he could still smell the pungent odor. He didn't expect that in this world, even underground waterways were filled with fear and death. Jiang was immediately shocked, and Sun Zhou asked him to stop thinking about all those cannibals. They were already hiding in the filthy underground sewers, worshipping false beliefs and eating blood flesh of their own accord. They were enemies of almost all human organizations. The anti-human mutant group looked down on them. The Six Road area, which promotes freedom, also gave strict orders against approaching them. Jiang Chen said that he would leave tomorrow. It might be a month before he could return. The food reserves were no longer enough. Sun Zhou let him go and asked him to come back quickly. Then she invited them to eat together. After they finished eating, they washed the dishes together. Yesterday, driven by anger, Jiang Chen entered rage mode. He didn't understand the meaning of Sun Zhou's words and asked him. Usually, gene medicine only modifies 3 basic abilities. However, it is also involved in DNA surface refinement. So how unpredictable mutations are also possible. Rumor has it that people grow a second head after injection. Jiang Chen panicked that the thing he brought to inject him was actually something dangerous like that. Laughing, Sun Zhou said that the possibility is very small and can be ignored. Jiang Chen asked her not to scare him. But there are some people who start mutating, gaining useful abilities. For example, she gained an ability called endurance. Resilience, to be clear, when he can accelerate the speed of cell metabolism after suffering a non-serious wound and make the wound heal in a short time. After using the ability, his body would be very weak. There was also a risk of death if used frequently. Jiang Chen asked if it was the wound from yesterday's gunshot. Sun Zhou replied that it was, and Jiang Chen's ability was the same. He must remember this. This kind of action drains one's life force, so it's better to use it sparingly. Then Sun Zhou asked him to look at his EP. It should have a detailed explanation. Jiang Chen opened the EP and read the information there. Based on the clinical reaction, for those who gain this ability, when their emotions are greatly boosted, all body cells will have irregular metabolism. Generally, it was about increasing strength and faster reflexes. He could open the usage record of this ability to help him understand objectively. He had no choice but to remind her that this type of ability should be used sparingly. Jiang Chen asked why that should be the case. Did she forget the side effects after using the ability? Jiang Chen also tried to remember yesterday's incident. If it was in a safe condition, it should still be fine. But during the war, there are factors that cannot be predicted. Once using tantrums and not being able to finish off the opponent quickly, there would only be one outcome waiting for him. If Yo-Yo hadn't shown up on time yesterday, he was afraid that he would have become a headless corpse, and there was even a possibility that his corpse would not remain. However, she didn't need to either. Especially this type of ability could often be controlled after some time by using a special medicine to stop it. This would allow the use of the ability to be more effective. After that, through training, he could control the activation and termination of the ability by his own will. For example, Sum Zhou no longer needed help from medicine. Sum Zhou taught Jiang Chen how to use the medicine. The medicine should be used on the EP's empty slit and not to reverse the color. When he needed to perform his berserk press, the medicine would be injected into his body through the head of this small needle. But Sum Zhou's advice was still not to rely too much on this ability. Jiang Chen looks happy, because he got a few kilograms of gold, and said that Sum Zhou was amazing. He had said that there was no need to send her away. They'll be back soon. All the food is still in the fridge. That will be enough for them for half a year. Jiang Chen looks at Yo-Yo and feels something different about her hair. Yo-Yo said that Sum Zhou helped her cut it last night, because Sum Zhou felt her haircut was too bad. Jiang Chen didn't expect her to have such skills. Jiang Chen has to go, and remind them to eat fresh vegetables first. It's better to eat less canned food. Then Sum Zhou kissed Jiang Chen and said he understood, and asked Jiang Chen to say some romantic words before leaving. He looks confused because he doesn't know what to say to her. Yo-Yo keeps pulling on Jiang Chen's shirt. Yo-Yo doesn't want him to leave. She said be good and listen to Sum Zhou. Yo-Yo should take care of her body when she comes back. If possible, it would be great to see Yo-Yo more cute. Then Yo-Yo kisses Jiang Chen and leaves. He looks shy after kissing Yo-Yo and asks if Sum Zhou won't blame him for this. Yo-Yo returns and says that she must return. Jiang Chen finally leaves. He tells them to go inside the house immediately, and they don't need to see him go any further. And they asked him to be careful on the way. He finally returned to modern times. He arrived at his room and immediately laid down on his bed. When she looked at the clock on her cell phone, it was around 11 a.m. when she left that world. It seemed like the time in the apocalypse world was the same as this world. The sound of bullets, heavy machine gun fire, and dismembered bodies were everywhere. He would soon suffer a mental breakdown if he had to stay there any longer. He finally heard a long-lost voice, a long-lost familiar voice. He thought this was still civilization at its best. Banzai for this peaceful world. Jiang Chen immediately got out of bed because there was still work that needed to be done. First, he will weigh how much this all weighs. This gold bar for him never made $3,000 a month, can only think about it when dreaming. But right now, it has become a reality. Jiang Chen was very surprised because the gold he carried weighed 35.8 kilograms. Jiang Chen looked very happy. If he only sold 7 kilograms at 200 RMB each, that's 1,400,000 RMB. He immediately shouted on the balcony of his house, saying, "Dan, I'm rich." So much money. What should he do? It should be enough to buy a car, and buy a house should it be possible. If he wants to live, it should be a luxury mansion. Isn't there still gold left in the bank vault? He still had to return to a place where even the air was thickly covered with pollution. But she remembered Sum Zhou's words that he trusted her and asked her to return early. And remembered the words of Yo-Yo, who had been greatly blessed. Yo-Yo hoped she wouldn't throw it away. Laughing happily, she said she wasn't even a weird lolicon. She felt there was no point in thinking about it. She went back to enjoying her life. Jiang Chen then cooked because he wanted to cook lunch first. He had a fancy dinner later. When the time came, he would go out and sell his gold first. If he was going to live in a luxury mansion, if he was going to buy, it would have to be a luxury car. After all, the entire gold vault in the bank of that place was his. He had to spend all this money. Only through this could he find the courage to return to that place. With this small amount of money, let him enjoy everything first. Since she is coming back, let's treat her before the next step. He also remembered something and took out the item in his pocket. It turned out to be a high-level edition of the hologram computer, and he wanted to try playing with this thing and spend some time. This hologram computer was already filled with 100 terabytes of movies. Definitely the best of the best. Then Jiang Chen tried the hologram computer. Let's enjoy technology from the future too. To find out what it's like to watch a movie from a holographic computer. When he turned it on, it turned out to be an adult movie, and he looked very surprised. And immediately turned off the holographic computer because the sound was too noisy. The damn 100 terabytes of movies turned out to be all movies like that. No wonder the boss looked so lewd back then. If this was in the past, maybe he would still see the movie. But now the situation had changed. He wasn't an otaku anymore. He wasn't interested in those personal activities anymore. He should go out and take care of proper business first. Everything here is filled with a sense of déjà vu. When compared to that chaotic world, it made the feeling very sharp and different. Although he stayed in that world for only a few days, everything in this world had already formed an impression that was impossible to forget. It seemed like he really needed to stabilize himself. If this continued, how long would it take before he went crazy? Jiang Chen also saw a cricket. It really had been a long time. He could finally see a normal creature. The cockroach was surprising, bigger than a dog. He wondered if there were crickets there. To turn this gold into money, he could forget about the bank. Without an invoice, he felt he would be arrested by the police at any moment. So he had to sell it to a gold shop. But he had to choose a shop that had the ability to handle the goods and not let him get into trouble. Finally, Jiang Chen had chosen a gold shop where he would sell all his gold. Jiang Chen entered the Yima shop there, and there was a woman who greeted him. The woman immediately offered him a woman's ring. But he immediately asked if this shop accepted to sell gold. The woman said that they accept gold sales but only accept gold with a purity of 999. The woman would help him to solve his needs. Jiang Chen asked the woman to call her manager because the woman would not be able to make a decision for this transaction. Then the woman went to call her manager. The woman said that with such old clothes and bags, she really couldn't believe he came here to do business. She felt like she couldn't escape the manager's scolding, and it was really annoying. Finally, the manager came over, and Jiang Chen showed him the contents of her bag. The manager was shocked to see the gold in her bag. The manager immediately asked Jiang Chen to enter the VIP room to do the transaction there. That's 22 grams. From the color, it must be 999 gold. The waiter said there was no problem with the gold he was carrying. The manager asked if Jiang Chen had an invoice. He replied that he didn't have one. Upon hearing that, the manager immediately told the waiter to leave because he didn't need to be here. The manager said that the source of the gold she was carrying was probably abnormal. He tried to convince her that it just wasn't in the country's records. The source must be normal. It's the compensation. Using gold for compensation? Could he be someone hired by international mercenaries? That seems a bit far-fetched. The manager's name is Liu Anshan. He's been working in this field for over 20 years. This was the first time someone had brought gold in a bag to this place. Jiang Chen also said to manager Liu, he asked for a definite answer, whether he was interested in this deal or not. Manager Liu replied that he was interested in this deal and asked him not to rush. But the gold didn't have an invoice, and the manager felt this wasn't too bad for him. Jiang Chen explained, 22 grams of gold, base count 220 RMB per gram. The total amount would be 1,566,840 RMB. He would discount it slightly to 1,500,000 RMB, and that was the deal. The extra amount will be a tip for manager Liu. The gold price is now 270 RMB per gram. Manager Liu has nothing to lose with this deal. Manager Liu looks happy. Then it's better to accept than refuse. Does he want cash or transfer? Jiang Chen replied that he wanted to transfer. Finally, the transaction was completed. All the money had been transferred to his account. Manager Liu asked him to make sure first so that there would be no problems later. Manager Liu then gave her his card, hoping to work with her more in the future. Then Jiang Chen left the Yima shop and immediately took a taxi. She felt that rich people were really the bosses of this world. Who would have thought that the manager of the gold shop would speak kindly to her and try to get on her good side in various ways? Manager Liu felt he had to send someone to follow him. To sell gold like this, people who do this without even blinking an eye certainly don't just have that kind of amount on them. Manager Liu wants to know where Jiang Chen got it from. But he wanted to observe first and talk later. Only by being attentive can you sail safely for 10,000 years. The woman asked Manager Wang about the child, but he explained that he was not a child but a master. He is their honored guest. Remember, if he comes back in the future, invite him directly to his room. After earning money, what will Jiang Chen do? He is clueless about something that accomplished that. For him, Jiang Chen's new money. Today he will be honest from now on. In other words, he will act arrogant. The taxi driver looked at Jiang Chen strangely. He made a $20 taxi feel like $1 million luxury car. The taxi stopped and the driver said that they had arrived. Jiang Chen gave him the money and said he'd give her the change. He had waited a long time to say that, and according to the taxi driver, he was an arrogant rich boy, but the taxi driver liked him. There is a saying that a man's going away clothes are just like a horse saddle without good clothes. He was afraid it wouldn't be easy to do something like that wherever he went. Rather than being low profile, he'd rather act cocky. Regardless of pursuing women or doing business, a clear outfit would be better, rather than wearing cheap clothes that can be bought on the side of the road. However, his identity was not the same this time. Today he was a customer. He'll act cocky. He'll come back to the place where he works to show off. He just wants to see the expression on the face of the rotten woman who fired him, after he sees how she is now. Since he's here, he has to buy the most expensive ones. All the luxury brands that were very expensive. Usually not many people subscribe to that. Jiang Chen felt that something was not right. But he wanted to forget about it, and wanted to choose clothes first. There was a waitress who was watching Jiang Chen choose clothes. The woman said Jiang Chen didn't even blink when casually choosing clothes over 10,000 RMB. So young and handsome, his family must have a gold mine or his father must be in the property business. Looking at his posture when choosing clothes, it exudes the atmosphere of a king everywhere. The service offered to carry the clothes that Jiang Chen had brought. He was the kind of man the waiter liked. She asked for the bill. Besides the few pieces he didn't want, given all the suits in the shop. The waiter said he wasn't kidding. Jiang Chen said, "Look at his serious and handsome face, is he kidding?" The clothes in the store were notoriously expensive and usually didn't sell much. But he wanted to buy so many for himself. It seemed like he was really a local king. He didn't think of spending the equivalent of a year's sales commission all at once. The waiter asked Jiang Chen to wait a moment. The waitress asked if he would pay by card or cash. Jiang Chen said he wanted to pay by card. He looked for the woman where she was. This place was where he used to work. She couldn't find a job after graduating for some time, and so she came here to be a clothes seller. And today, she came back to show off her wealth. Not for any other reason. It's just to make someone look bad. Speaking more accurately, it was to see the manager who always made things difficult for her look bad. She wondered what kind of expression he would show her now. Worse, this person was not here and her slap to his face had missed. What was the point of this? The waitress asked him to wait because his clothes were all packed. Jiang Chen asked the waiter where the manager was. The waitress said she was going to the head office for a meeting and would be back today. The waitress was afraid that the service she provided didn't satisfy Jiang Chen, so she wanted to meet with the store manager. But Jiang Chen says the waitress misunderstood him. She's an old friend of the manager's named Xia. She was just looking for him to chat about the past. The waitress said that the manager was named Su Liping. His surname is not Xia. Jiang Chen also asked the waiter to forget what he said. But the waiter just remembered that the surname of the previous store manager was Xia, and the waiter remembered that his name was Xia Xiu. Jiang Chen asked where he was now. The waiter replied that he had been fired. They received training from the main office and took care of this place after their training. Jiang Chen said he wanted to go to the locker room to change. When she got to the locker room, she seemed very happy to hear that. The rotten woman was also asked to leave afterward. But why did she suddenly feel so helpless and empty? Jiang Chen tried to think about it carefully. It seemed like his life there had made him feel unrealistic, and subconsciously affected the way he acted to handle things in this place. He also tried to forget about it. He still had busy things to do. She was already starting to think too much again. The feeling of wearing branded clothes was different. It felt like someone was entirely fresher and more alert. She also asked the waiter to distribute the rest of the clothes she bought to beggars on the streets. But the waiter didn't believe that she wanted to share the rest of the clothes she bought, but Jiang Chen said not to make her repeat her words. Then the maid agrees to Jiang Chen's request and says she's waiting for him to come back. Then she came to a salon and said she had no prior appointment and apologized for the trouble. She asked not to ask about signing up for the card. She wouldn't do it, give her the most expensive hair care package. The waiter asked her to leave her watch in a safe place. After that, the waiter took Jiang Chen to the VIP room. She asked to wait a moment. Their best hairdresser would be with her in a few moments. The hairdresser finally arrived, and he introduced himself and said his name was Huo Ziju Kai, and he was happy to serve him. Jiang Chen rated the hairdresser and gave her an 8. Z asked Jiang Chen to lie down comfortably. Z asked her if she liked some songs. He replied that he liked a few more from Jay Chu. Then Z immediately played more from Jay Chu. Jiang Chen felt very comfortable, and this hair wash felt very good. He thought the money was well spent. Z said that Jiang Chen's entire outfit was from a great designer, and he was quite handsome. Then she tried to touch him. This touch made her feel so good about her body. Yum, rich, it's not like she's never seen a rich person. Too bad they all have pot bellies, are bald, and get haircuts here with their wives who are 20 years younger than them. Or they're the second generation of rich people whose bodies have been ruined by alcohol, sex, and come here to replicate the same haircut as some idol. This one today was completely different. Let him touch it more. Jiang Chen felt that the water was a little too hot. Z immediately apologized to Jiang Chen. Z asked her what kind of haircut she wanted. She replied that she wanted a clean, sharp haircut. The most important thing is to match her style and aura. After finishing the haircut, Jiang Chen paid by card. Z said thank you for the visit and to be careful on the road, and the waiter asked her to come again. Walking alone was a little lonely. Her best friends from university were back home, heading north or abroad. He was the only one left in this prosperous but cold city that lacked human touch. Maybe there were still a few people left. However, it had been a very long time since he had contacted them. Jiang Chen also passed by a women's clothing store. He said he should go in and buy Sun Jiao some suits. But she tried to forget about it. A man alone, unaccompanied by a woman visiting such a shop, would look strange. He thought how great it would be if Sun Jiao was here. They could roam the streets together and go shopping. He would buy her many beautiful clothes, and she would be very happy. They could also live a normal, peaceful, and pleasant life, like all other couples. But right now, he wasn't sure if he could bring people to live together when crossing the world. He felt that this was the only bad thing about modifying genes. He was starving again. Jiang Chen decided to eat. He ate a lot. The food from the 3-star Michelin restaurant was completely different. But someone around him said, did he win the lottery? He made a luxurious meal worth more than $10,000 look like $20. Then Jiang Chen paid for his meal with a card, but the table was full of food, and he was only 70% full. Jiang Chen was at the beach. He had walked all afternoon. Although a little tired, he felt more comfortable after coming here to enjoy the sea breeze. No wonder this place is a famous tourist attraction of Wanghai City. After studying for 4 years in this place, this was the first time she went to the seaside. He only heard from his classmates exaggerating about this in the past, about there being many beautiful women here. Even all the beautiful women were wearing bikinis with amazing bodies. There didn't seem to be any at all. He didn't even see one of the rumored bikini girls, making him come here from so far away. His hopes were in vain. From the 1 million plus what he earned in the morning, he only spent 200,000. It turns out that Jiang Chen only spent 200,000, so he's already the local king level that he hates the most. But to boast that he's a rich man with millions of dollars in Wanghai City. Millions of dollars, he can't even buy a house. But he actually has that big gold safe. The gold in the bank vault should be around $1 billion, right? He became a little uneasy just thinking about it. What about all the banks in Wanghai City and the rest of the world after the apocalypse? But massive gold sales causing the price of gold to fall would also be a problem. However, the gold in one bank was enough. There are still other ways to earn money. An easy example would be that holographic computer pen he brought home. He should have set up a company to sell them. If he could really mass-produce it and sell it publicly, the value of the company should be several hundred billion, right? And what about the virtual reality systems used as educational equipment and rest tubes? Jiang Chen was happy to think about that. But he tried to stop fantasizing. Something had to be done little by little. If such an impossible technology was released suddenly, he was afraid that it would attract a lot of people with their own plans before he could make a lot of money. Therefore, he wanted to collect the initial models and quietly get rich first. And he would talk about it again when the time came. He should enjoy the money he had now. Suddenly, a woman wearing a bikini called out to Jiang Chen. She invited him to play together. The woman thought that judging by her clothes, she must be from a rich family. With her beautiful appearance and body, as long as she is willing to get close, finding a rich man will be easy, right? Like LV bags, Hermes bags, perfume, and unnecessary spending money are not too far away from him. Besides, Jiang Chen is more handsome than Go. He is her big father. But Jiang Chen rejects her outright and says she should keep her youth with someone more meaningful. As he leaves, Jiang Chen says that Sun Jiao has a better body than the woman in the bikini. The woman thinks, who is Sun Jiao? Is she an actress? Jiang Chen thought the others would think he was crazy for what he had just said. It's late and time to go home. Xie Xiu, she is a woman studying management, specializing in economics at Wanghai University. With both talent and appearance, of course, she is praised and admired by many people. After 4 years at university, she left school with outstanding results. But due to family reasons, she did not choose to attend the school graduation. Instead, she chose to take a job at a clothing store. Due to her outstanding abilities, she was hired as a store manager in the most prosperous location. This undoubtedly gave this talented lady a good deal to carry out her ambitions. The truth is just like this, just like the main character in the novel. Xie Xiu implemented various consecutive actions when she got her post. That action increased the sales value of the clothing store to a different level. And because of her fussy and strict way of doing things, it gave her the elegant name of the Iceberg Lady. Even besides the great achievements in her career, rumor has it that she also had a boyfriend who doted on her. However, this woman's supervisor, whose gaze remained high, never seemed to respond to the man. As a result, Jiang Chen secretly mocked her with his sincerity, which this female supervisor, always having a scary face, had biological problems. And as the saying goes, trouble comes from the mouth. Hexia called out to Jiang Chen. Hexia asked why Jiang Chen used the shop's toilet every morning. Doesn't he have a toilet at home? Doesn't he know that the smell is very strong? Others use 2 toilets, but he uses 4. What part of him is so special? It seemed like the rumors had already been heard by Xia. Small problems were forcefully investigated by her until she found the culprit. Jiang Chen said that he would change, but Xia said if there was no next time. The consequences that Jiang Chen faced could easily be imagined. Casually picking a small problem, she fired Jiang Chen, for which he had worked hard for a year. Jiang Chen was upset that Xia fired him for such a reason. At that moment, he pondered for a long time. Titvanal, after drinking a lot of beer to release his frustration, he put the matter aside under the excuse of unworthy. He was still part of the upper management. The store continued to operate without the small figure. However, the incident did not end there. Educational ability and results are only one aspect. However, personality is another aspect. The dismissal of the notoriously good Jiang Chen seemed to trigger resentment in the hearts of others. More and more people can't help but be upset about the management. Official and strict management brings short-term effects, but it also brings prolonged negative emotions. Small salaries with high standards cause conflict. He would not blame anyone here. You should know best for yourselves. Their sales this year were not ideal. Especially for a certain branch, the sales dropped drastically. Over and above the result of resentful emotions reflecting in the detailed results and sales results. Although they valued the strength of this great employee, the upper management still doubted the store manager's lack of maturity and asked Tixia to step down from her position. The strong woman who was hailed as the flower of Wanghai University's economic level surprisingly became unemployed in just 1 year. Although her intelligence realized where she made a mistake, she already couldn't justify it. She had some impressions of the man she fired. It was felt from this moment onwards. Everyone looked at him differently. At first, it was filled with respect for fear. In the end, respect seemed to carry a trace of hatred. And the saying goes that bad luck never comes one by one. She was seen with her boyfriend, but they seemed to be arguing. Her boyfriend was upset. He had been with her for so long, and until now she didn't even let him kiss her. Her boyfriend immediately doused her with coffee and told Xia to leave and be a virgin forever. Maybe it's because he can't give her any economic help anymore. The man even looked too lazy to cover for his new girlfriend. However, this wasn't the thing that gave him a hard blow. The man had already used his identity as a guarantor to borrow some money. It was also the original source of the car that was always used to pick her up every day. Since he would give her some money every month, which she used to pay off the loan, there was no sign of it. Until the day she was without a job. At that moment, all the problems were exposed. High pay, short time, Shia can do it with hidden rules. In such a densely populated country, there really are so many talented people. What was even more mocking was that the person in the passenger seat right now wasn't even her. He had already thought about calling the police, but peer-to-peer lending was still unclear. The other group was definitely not someone friendly. Of course, they wouldn't let him do as he wished. Like this, he escaped from the original condominium area and hid in a cheap rental house and survived with part-time jobs. One side, she hoped to use the money she saved to find a legal way to solve her problem. On the other hand, he kept his desperate hope of finding a suitable job. However, her good fortune still came in the end. Someone came to where Xia worked. She asked the man if he was her boss. The man asked if the woman named Xia worked there. The boss said she was inside. The man went inside and approached Xia. He said it seemed like Xia had lived better these days. Xia did not expect that the man came to her workplace and asked what she wanted. The people outside looked scared. Some wanted to call the police, but his friend said not to interfere and took him away. The man said what would he do? What did he think this man would do? Boss Xia was silent and scared and left. The man asked to talk outside, or did Xia want them to come in and drag him out? The man was seen threatening his boss and said why doesn't he come to the street too? The boss looked very scared and asked Xia for help. Then Xia complied with the man's request. The man also let go of Xia's boss. Xia will talk to him if there is something quick to talk. The man did not think that Xia would work part-time at the flower shop. The man also asked if she had made enough money. She said she would return all the money by working, and please don't come and harass her. He said how long would she have to wait until she paid off all her debts. This man felt that Xia was joking with him. Xia then asked what this man wanted. He gave her two options. First, she would take his money and pay off all his debts, and secondly, he would take her. Xia looked upset and said they dared to engage in human trafficking. They just laughed at Xia's words. The man said he wouldn't do that. It would be a waste, especially for a beautiful person like her. Laughing, this man said Xia should play around for a few years before selling to someone as a wife. He asked his friends if they agreed. They said they would of course agree. The brothers might even subscribe and help her out in time. Give her some support. Xia could only stay silent listening to them talk. The man saw that she was a pathetic person. However, that was the rule. Repaying her own debts was a natural thing. She didn't have to worry about it. After working at the Hong Yi nightclub for a few years, paying off her debts and profits, she could still get out of there. No one would know about it anyway. At that time, she could leave the city, find a good man, and get married, as long as she didn't borrow this much money again. The man also asked Xia to think about this. 10 minutes ago, there were people who were in a hurry to run and bumped into Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen wondered why they'd panicked in the middle of the night. If it wasn't for the reinforcement with genetic medicine, he would have been bounced off. He saw in front of him a crowd gathering. The man asked if Xia wanted to serve them. After serving them, they could go back and collect the money next week. Jiang Chen went there and wanted to see what was there. He was surprised at what he saw and found it more interesting. The man asked if Xia would accept his offer or not. Suddenly Jiang Chen appeared and said Li Kun Fu Chun Mountain residence. Here's a top-tier cigarette, want one? This man also asked who he was. Laughing, Jiang Chen said it was a coincidence. He came here to check because he saw someone familiar. He heard the conversation. Does this woman owe you money? Then she realized it was Jiang Chen. Why is he here? And what is she here for? Jiang Chen asked how much this woman owed the man, and said they were all harassing a weak woman. This is very unmanly. The boss had already said that if they could bring her back, try bringing her back. With such a small amount of accumulation, there is no money to be made. The look of this woman is not bad. If they accepted her into the nightclub, she could be a mainstay. At that time, the 8-2 split is where the big money will come from. The man said to Jiang Chen if he was brave enough. The man looks angry and says that today he will give Jiang Chen a lesson. He goes straight for Jiang Chen and wants to hit him. Jiang Chen is silent. He thinks this speed is too slow. If he could be caught by her, then this technology from the future was useless. Besides, the price of his clothes was more than $10,000. If the man tore it, would he even be able to replace it? Jiang Chen also said why he still wanted to fight. He immediately grabbed the man's hand, asking to settle it peacefully, and said what the man was trying to do. The man felt that Jiang Chen was very strong. He took out a knife from his pocket and tried to slash Jiang Chen, but Jiang Chen was able to avoid it. When he tried to slash him again, he immediately took the knife from the man. Jiang Chen said that now his knife was confiscated. His friend said they didn't have time to deal with Jiang Chen and asked the man to beat him up immediately. But Jiang Chen tried to stop them. He said to move on, "Don't fight here because there is CCTV." The man said he wanted to die where no one could see him. Laughing, Jiang Chen felt that this man was strange. Didn't he feel a little scared? This man didn't care. He was just practicing a little martial art to get rid of fear, and he thought he was untouchable. So what if he learned it? Can he handle 10 armed men? Let this Superman write his speech. Then this man took his friends away. Jiang Chen told Xia to wait for him here because he would be back soon. Xia worried to Jiang Chen, will he be all right? Should Xia call the police? But Xia felt if she couldn't call the police. If she did that, they would find her borrowing from a loan shark. If that happened, she would be in very big trouble. Xia's boss thanked God, because someone else was ready to die, or he wouldn't even be able to keep this shop. The man immediately ordered his friends to immediately beat up Jiang Chen and cut off his legs. But Jiang Chen put a gun to the man's head, and the man was immediately scared. Jiang Chen said that there was no CCTV here. His friends panicked and told the man that Jiang Chen had a gun. The man told them to be quiet. They didn't need to say it. He wasn't blind. Jiang Chen said, "What do they think of this little toy?" The man said it was a real gun. Then Jiang Chen immediately shot one of them to show that it was a real gun. He pointed the gun at the man and said he probably believed it by now. A person who was famously shot cried out in pain. The man and his friends looked very scared. Jiang Chen asked how about another demonstration. They tried to save the boss, but Jiang Chen asks them not to move. Frightened, the man asked to talk about this and not to use a gun. Even though Jiang Chen had asked before to talk nicely, but this man asked him to fight. The man also asked Jiang Chen to calm down. Jiang Chen said he couldn't waste too much time with the man and asked for Xida's loan slip. He asked for his account number, and the man gave it to him. The man asked what Jiang Chen was going to do. He replied that he would repay all his debts. That means the man will sell the loan slip and give the creditor rights directly to Jiang Chen. How can his brain grow? Can he look like a guy who's going to eat and run away? After being given his account number, Jiang Chen then transferred the money. He sent 410,000 to the man and asked him to leave immediately. The man left immediately and thanked Jiang Chen. Then he put the gun back into the storage dimension. Xia was seen waiting for Jiang Chen. They'd have been gone for so long. Did something happen? Not long after, Jiang Chen came. Xia asked if he was okay. Jiang Chen said that he was not okay. He had a small wound. Xia wanted to help treat the wound, but he said that saliva is all ready for killing germs. Xia said she had germicide and bandages at her place. Jiang Chen felt like a tease and asked Xia not to look at him like that. He was her new creditor. This deal is all very good except one. It's too good. He will not charge interest. Xia thought, is there a bigger narcissist in life? Is he really that much of an asshole who doesn't even dare to make eye contact? He must be on drugs, no matter what she helped him. Then Xia said that she would pay him with interest, but with a normal interest rate. If the interest rate was as high as a loan shark, Xia really had no hope of paying it back. Not bad, Jiang Chen didn't care if Xia paid her or not. Spending a little money just to mock Xia made him somewhat happy. Then, Xia's boss called her. He apologized to Xia about this. He didn't want to deal with that bad guy. This is her half-month salary. It should be enough. Xia doesn't need to come to work tomorrow. Xia felt sad. She had only worked for half a month and was always like this. Her boss immediately told Xia to get out of his shop. But Xia still tried to talk to her boss. She still wanted to work there, but her boss said to stop dreaming and told her to find another job and not come here anymore. Jiang Chen seemed to be mocking Xia and was happy that she had been fired. Xia must feel a little familiar with this feeling because the last time Xia was fired from the company. Xia also asked Jiang Chen to be quiet. It's been so long and Xia still can't last more than half a month. It's better to start looking for a job again tomorrow. Jiang Chen asked Xia where she wanted to go. Then she answered that she wanted to go home. Xia also said goodbye and left. But Jiang Chen still chased him and said how could he forget the person who helped him. Xia asked what Jiang Chen wanted. He replied that he wanted to go to his house. Xia was shocked and asked to stop following him. He also replied that Xia said she would help treat his wound. Xia asked him to stop acting and asked him to leave immediately after treating his wound. He also said how could Xia forget the person who had just helped him. Jiang Chen is very happy to fool women, 2 or 3 words doing tricks every time. He's actually just curious about where Xia lives. Her wound had probably healed a while ago. How could she be this evil? She was almost as evil as that Sun Jiao woman. Xia also asked what he was muttering and who was Sun Jiao. Jiang Chen also said there was nothing he muttered. He didn't expect the city of Shanghai to still have this dilapidated apartment and all the walls were cracked. Can someone live here? Even the door was rusted. She had a nice face, and it was all ruined by that bad temper of hers. She had personality but grew a pair. This woman is really strong. If it was any other woman, they wouldn't be able to hold her back. And she was a beautiful woman too. If she threw away her pride and acted spoiled, even getting 500,000 wouldn't be a big deal. Jiang Chen just remembered he wasn't in a position to criticize the others, since he also lived in a rented house. But this place was worse than his old place. Xia apologized and asked Jiang Chen to sit wherever he liked. This was the first time she had let a strange man in her house. Even her ex-boyfriend had never walked through the door. Whenever she was alone with a man, her whole body felt uncomfortable. Jiang Chen looked around. Even if it was a little simple, it seemed like Xia had cleaned up quite thoroughly. It really wasn't easy. When he went to sit down, it turned out that all the chairs were broken. Xia immediately came and asked where the wound was while bringing medicines to treat it. Jiang Chen just wanted to tease her. He didn't think Xia really took out a bottle of germicidal medicine. Xia Baikang will help treat the wound. Then Xia also treated the wound on Jiang Chen's cheek, but her heart was beating fast. He also said that he had not fallen in love with this woman. Xia asked Jiang Chen to stay still and not move so that she could treat the wound properly. Jiang Chen felt that there was a sweet smell. Xia said that it was jasmine fragrance. He had to get perfume from the office. They even fell silent and looked shy. Xia also thanked Jiang Chen for what he had done. Jiang Chen also said that Xia didn't need to thank him because he just happened to be passing by. Suddenly Xia asked if Jiang Chen didn't hate him.